Hey, how's it going, everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Tonight's double feature, we're going to be talking about the new Sacramento County automotive DIY repair law and what kind of bullshit is California pulling today. Okay, so this comment came from Baddock P. Hey, Justin, I enjoy your videos and I'm interested in your thoughts on the new automotive repair law in Sacramento County. Let's take a look and see what they're talking about. Is minor vehicle repair permitted at a residence? Yes, however, it's unlawful for any persons to engage or permit others to engage in minor vehicle repair or maintenance in any agricultural residence, residential, interim estate, and interim residential zones under the following circumstances, using tools not normally found in a residence. To what extent is that? Is the most tools that you find normally at a residential residence pruning tools? Because a lot of us that are DIYs and a lot of us that are men usually have a lot of tools and a toolbox that we can work on just about anything. So what is their take on what is the normal founded tools in a residence? I don't know what that means. So I wish they would go into a little bit more detail and specifics on what that means. Number 2, conducted on vehicles registered to persons not currently residing on the lot or parcel. So you can work on it as long as it's registered to you. If it's not, you can't. Conducted outside fully enclosed garage resulting in a vehicle being inoperable for a period of excessive of more than 24 hours. So if you decide to work on your car out in front of your house and it's been more than 24 hours and it's not in an enclosed garage, you can't. What is a major automobile repair? In their eyes, any vehicle repair or maintenance other than a minor vehicle repair to include body or paint work, vehicles, or vehicle part operations. Is a major automotive repair permitted at a residence? No. It is unlawful for any person to engage or permit others to engage, meaning if you wanted your friend to work on it at their house or have them come over to your house. And a major repair to vehicles in an agricultural residence, residential, interim, etc. Why is the code enforcement concerned about residential automotive repair? The chemicals involved in major automotive repair can pollute our neighborhoods and endanger the health and well-being of other residents. Furthermore, this kind of activity increases vehicle traffic and its visual impact can be negative impact on property values. So what does that mean? Okay, let's go into a little bit. Let's talk about the property value. If you drive through a nice neighborhood and you have a car completely gutted and stripped apart in front of the yard, and it's like that throughout the entire cul-de-sac, it might be not as eye candy worthy for a new incoming potential buyer of that house. So if you look like the Beverly Hillbillies living in the cul-de-sac and there's a nice house that's all clean, the persons that are willing to buy that house might not be willing to pay that kind of prices based on the neighborhood, so it can reduce the value of that house. So that's what they're talking about there. Pollute neighborhoods and endanger the health and well-being of other residents. So leaving things out like coolant, oil spills, things like that all over the floor, the concrete. You get a heavy rain, it washes down the wash into somebody else's yard, ends up destroying their flowers, plants, etc. Okay. Health and well-being. So if a dog was escaping the backyard of your property and went to somebody else's property that has oil or coolant that wasn't drained or properly disposed of, and they start drinking it and they die, that's what they're talking about. If the kids come over and they just start playing with stuff that they shouldn't be and they accidentally ingest it, that could be bad too. I know this is a lot of like, are you kidding me? But I get it, I get it to a certain extent. So what do I think of it? Okay, I think it's a little bit outrageous. However, I do understand where they're coming from in certain circumstances. If you live out in the middle of BFE, kind of like I do, I don't think you should have to make a law for that. However, if you live in a really nice area, so if you live in a gated community, yeah, I can see where that might get a little bit wishy-washy and how HOA might come in and decide to start, throwing up some numbers and give you so much time to get rid of it. Because my cousin lives in a non-gated community, but it's a nice community, and it's a duplex. So he lives side by side to somebody else, and somebody can complain about a car that's been parked on the front of the sidewalk for a certain period of time. And you'd be thinking, why don't they just mind their own business? Well, If they have friends, family, relatives, and things that want to come over and park right there, they can't because you got somebody else, some other John's car parked there that you're working on, and you're not a professional licensed mechanic. Yeah, I can see where that could get to be irritating, and nobody likes lawn art, okay? In California, you have various areas. Some places are really nice communities. Other ones, like out here in the desert, you got vehicles that are stretched out that have been rusted and trusted and laying all over the place. In fact, it's actually considered lawn art out here in the high desert, and I'll show you guys around later and show you what I'm talking about. People actually take these old school cars and turn them into lawn ornaments instead of buying statues and whatever, where it's completely drained of all fluids, but it's sitting there, collected rust. It looks a little nostalgia. It actually kind of looks pretty cool. So I guess if you weren't doing anything with it, yeah, you know, I understand that lawn art does look pretty cool, especially if it's an old rustic car. If you're working on it and you're out in the middle of nowhere land, who gives a shit what it is that you're doing? You know what I'm saying? You're out in the middle of nowhere. I get the agricultural thing to a certain degree if you're in a congested neighborhood. But if you're out in the middle of nowhere where you got nothing for miles, and maybe it's like you have a 20-acre plot and everyone has anywhere between 5 and 20 acres between them, and then you have nothing but open land behind you, I really don't think that should be a thing. You know, I'll give you a for instance. I was watching this kind of like a documentary kind of deal of Dale Earnhardt Jr. In fact, on part of his property, every car that he won some kind of race with or kept that they disposed of and went to the next car, he started saving them to include his dad's cars, and he has them parked throughout his property, and he can go through and kind of walk through. It's like a NASCAR graveyard, if you will, and it all has memories and shit. It's really cool. If you guys haven't checked it out, I'll see if I can't find the video and put it down in the description. My overall thought process on this for Sacramento County. I've been through Sacramento. I've been in some neighborhoods in Sacramento. It's starting to become a little bit congested, so I can see why they're bringing the law up. As far as how I overall feel about it, I think you should be able to work on your car, and I believe that the permitted time frame that you have to work on it should be extended past 24 hours. And I feel like you should be allotted enough time to complete the repair. Whether it's major or minor, I don't think it should have any effect. But I can see where it can get frustrating if that wasn't fixed within a certain period of time. So, for instance, I have this Honda that's been sitting in front of my property for probably the betterment of about 1.5 years, going on 2 years, or right around 2 years now. It's frustrating enough for me to see it, wheels up, wheels off, engine and trans out, vehicle not running, perfectly clean and immaculate car, for the exception it has no drivetrain, and I can't even make it a roller to get it off my property. Is it frustrating? Sure. But I'm not pressed for time, and I know that my buddy who bought the car from me, eventually we're going to get it together, and at the very least we'll make it a roller and tow it to his house. All I got to do is give him some kind of time frame. I really haven't. But yeah, at some point I'd like it off my property so I don't have to continuously stare at a project that I have nothing to do with. Because the only thing I was willing to do was to jump in on it, help him put it together, stab the engine and trans in, make it a runner, and then go. But, you know, go figure, his son took off back to Orange County with the transmission that we need to make it a running car, and his son's interest level has dropped because there hasn't been any permitted time. So I think here within the next 6 months, and I'll talk to him a little bit about it, at the very least I'd like to try to make it a roller, and then have it, we can tow it or trailer over to his house, and he can do whatever he wants to do with it, and eventually we'll drag the CRV over there and we'll just do it at his house. Because I would like to open up my front yard again. That's why I was trying to get rid of cars to begin with. It would have been one thing if it was a cylinder head job and I was doing it and banged it out and then either drove it or sold it, but the fact that it's been here for almost 2 years now, it's time to do something, and it even gets frustrating to me. I think a permitted time frame for any kind of repair, don't start tackling a major job unless you're prepared to finish the job. So if you know how much money it's going to cost, or at least get a good idea of how much money it's going to cost you, have the money preemptively set aside before you start ripping and tearing in this thing, and then give yourself about a 1 to 2 week window where you can kill it on the weekends and get the job done and get it done and up and running or sold or whatever you need to do with it. Because even for me, it's frustrating to have a car up, wheels down, and, you know, having the front of the house just be completely cluttered in automotive parts that are just off this car. So yeah, eventually I'd like it off so I can re-clean the front yard. I want to make a big old awning, maybe some kind of overhead kind of deal, so I can do simple repairs on the side of the house without always having to be in front of my garage door, because that's where the wife likes to park. It's convenient for her and the kids to get groceries in and out of the house. And when I tie it up with having a vehicle there for repair, and it's usually our repairs that I'm doing, it's frustrating to her because she has to figure out some other way of parking in the front yard just long enough for me to continue doing what I'm doing. But you guys let me know. Is it complete bullshit? How much time frame should you have to complete a repair? Do you believe, or do you give it a thumbs up for the law? Do you give it a thumbs down? Are you in kind of in agreements with me where it really depends on the area that this person lives in, whether it's in a cul-de-sac community or a gated community or in a nice residential, or if you live in the middle of BFE in Sacramento? I don't know if Sacramento has BFE, but if they did, do you believe that the law should be kind of stricken based on their zip code? That's what I want to know. Let me know down in the comments. That's all I got for this video. Thanks as always for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.